do we need to create some sort of page for this, or are we just gonna like do like our own thing? Like,
I was gonna definitely like promote it on my channel.
yeah,
I was gonna say like not the Mulder life.
not
I was gonna promote it as not the Mulder life and the adult contract.
right.
I'm just gonna grab a couple names there that maybe other people might have.
Now that you bring that up, you know what we need to do to promote this is we need to start to make some podcast beefs. We need to really, like a rap beef, like something like that, because that really gets like two, artists to really grow. We need to start a podcast beef.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys saw the thing I posted right before we came on here because I was waiting for this to start. I constantly go at Caleb because I love him. Anything he's doing, I find a way to try to find a way to warp it and then bring him up. And I don't know if you've seen those green screen things he's doing. They're super good, like very informative, definitely his style, his motif, what he does on there. And I was like, I'm going to do one with the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
You got to get to the 3 for $7 energy drinks, man, when you get there in the morning. And then you go over to the potato chips where it's 2 bags for $3.50. You spent $10 and you're still flying on your 20 that you brought with you because you grabbed it off the table on the way out. We could definitely start a beef with the Kid Contractor podcast and the Mulder, not the Mulder life or the Mulder life, or Brian's what's Brian's lawn maintenance podcast?
Unfiltered.
Brian, Fullerton Unfiltered. Yeah, I think it would be fun. We'll start episode 2, beefing with making fun of clips from other people's podcasts.
Jesus.
I'll just start clipping some of their stuff that they say, and I'll rearrange the words that they say so it makes them really look stupid.
Take a sentence from the start and a sentence from the end, and only play them. That makes no sense. I was hoping to put it on my Instagram for whatever.
Yeah, same here.
Put it. I have a Facebook page, and I do have I also have 6,000 Twitter followers. I'm big time. They banned me for but whatever. I was going to promote it. I think it's fun, and I think people know all three of us from all the different other podcast things. And
should we start an Instagram page? History will absolve us.
I don't know if you want to, because that's like a quote from Castro.
Right. We might be good, for the left, the Trudeaus. We might be drawn in that audience there, Chad.
I was thinking about that after.
Fine.
Most people probably wouldn't know where that quote's from or even know what it is a quote. So, but yeah, we should probably maybe start a page. And I was gonna see how it goes with the first. Not that you got to do. One thing doesn't make it. You got to put 20 of them. So,
yeah. Pump out the content.
Are people interested or they're not? To be honest, I don't even give a shit if people are interested. I think it's therapeutic if 3 guys.
I agree. Yeah,
I couldn't give a fuck.
I think that's a good way to to start this. Is that this is just fun, anyways, to just do. But I do.
We don't give a fuck if you listen. We don't care. Listen, don't listen. It really. The 3 of us are going to get together and chat as friends, regardless of whether you listen or not. So if you want to listen, continue listening. If you don't, whatever. Let's do it.
And then I say we do at least a few of these before we actually launch, and then that gives us time. We don't even have to do the sign off right now, or figure out the intro. That gives us 3 episodes to really get into the flow of things, and then then we can know where to take that.
Yeah, or I mean, you can almost chop it into half-hour increments too. I don't know how long is a good part. I don't know. I did look into this briefly, but I don't is a half-hour episode good, or do people want an hour? Or
I try to do an hour. Especially if you're doing just once a week, I try to get to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Half an hour is kind of getting pretty short. Okay. I think, unless you're doing 2 to 3 a week.
I did the Hardscaper one and it was half an hour and I found it to be short.
Yeah. I think the people that actually listen to podcasts,
they didn't try to sue you.
But then that's the Techo Block one, right?
Yeah, they didn't sue you, so
no, they didn't try.
We'll just keep talking about who didn't sue you until we get
there's
only one fucking manufacturer. The Techo Block was not the people that tried to sue you.
The only person that wanted to sue me
if you
was
listen week over week, soon you will know who tried to sue him. But it was not Techo Block week one, we've established it.
I wonder, were you involved in that, Mike?
What?
I don't know, King.
No, I wasn't. Oh, okay.
Because it just so happens that the people who wanted to sue me also signed your paychecks.
Yeah, no, I had nothing. I knew nothing about you being sued.
Yeah,
if I did, I would tell you. I did.
No, I don't. It's
when you said it, I knew who it was. I knew nothing about it, but when you said it the other day, yeah. That eliminates a few people that I didn't work for. A few people I did not work for.
It was my own fault too, right? Like I made a stupid comment and stuff. Should I have not have done it? Probably shouldn't have done it. It's just a smart ass move. But are you really going to sue a landscaper?
I think that, like, in terms of that, like, it was probably a fair comment. I don't remember it, so this has nothing to do with the actual comment. But like, I feel like there's a lot of fair commentary that could be made on Instagram. And these companies like freak out whenever anyone posts anything that's negative. And I'm like, I think it's fair to say that there is some negative stuff that happens. And, these people are always like, oh, we're feeding our families and, you're being critical and people might not buy it because you're being critical. And I'm like, okay, well, like I'm feeding my fucking family and your shit is costing me money and I'm not making the money I should because you're producing crap of whatever it is. Like, I feel like, but you don't, like, I don't know. I feel like it's a really one-sided thing right now. I don't know if other industries are like that. Like, I don't know what happens in the roofing industry. We said these 15-year shingles only lasted 14 and a half years. Right?
On that note, I had a company before, which is not the company that they tried to sue me. We put up a wall, and the wall was a wet cast wall, had so much variance in the block. The rep came down and in front of the client told me that to make up the difference, I could put roofing shingles in between the layers.
Perfect.
Amazing, eh? High quality product, supposed to probably the top of the line wall that you could put in. Probably highest cost per square foot. And they told me in front of the $200,000 client that I could put roofing shingles in there. Just blew my mind, right?
Those wet cast walls, man, those variances are brutal. Oh my God.
I allow for a lot of grinding.
Yeah.
I installed that wall you're talking about because I know which one. And I did one job out of it. And then
did they ask you to put roofing shingles in there too?
No, I did not. The first job, I was like, wow, this stuff's really fucked up, eh? And they were like, yeah, totally. And I was like, okay. At least we're all being honest about it. Great. And then someone, of course, saw the picture and was like, I want that wall too. And I was like, okay, that wall's like really expensive to buy and the grinding is outrageous. And they were like, okay. And then I literally allowed for 3 days of grinding.
Wow.
It was a big job. It was a huge job. And I literally was like, okay, we're going to spend like 3 full man days grinding this shit. And we did. But I mean, the wall looks fantastic. The amount of work in it. I wish I knew about the shingles. No one fucking told me about the shingles. Someone should have told me. I'm not opposed. I'm not too good for used roofing shingles well, maybe you are, but I'm good. If that's what the manufacturer recommends, I'm good.
That's where I draw the line, is roofing shingles in my wall. I've done some crazy shit, but I won't put a roofing shingle in my wall.
We used to throw pennies in corners.
Yeah.
You make a circle and then you put pennies in it or sand and then you push the wall and that brings it, because corners are always fucked no matter what. That's a universal. That's been no one in particular. Corners are always fucking screwed. Like, it doesn't matter what wall system, how big, how small, how you made it. The corners are always ass.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference. But
we've seen guys do like a snow fence as geogrid. Have you guys seen that?
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
Geogrid's not expensive. If you're going to cheap out somewhere, like, why don't you buy recycled concrete instead of virgin A? That's saving you money. Like that's saving you real money. The grid is valueless. Who gives a shit? It's $100 for a huge roll of it. Like the fuck are you trying to save there? Like who cares? Like it's not like, you know, you're putting 6 feet of gravel every layer, 6 feet deep. Like that's where the money is. Like, anyways, to me, if I was going to cheat on something, God damn it, it would be the gravel.
I was doing a wall in my first year, and I had hired my brother to help me. He was like a high school student at the time. It was pretty bad, but I've got lots of stories from it. No, he was a great worker because he might be listening to this. But but we were doing this wall, and the tolerances were so brutal that, and so for perspective, these walls are poured the other way, not like wet cast, you know, top to bottom. It's like side to side. So the stagger started to line up, but I had my brother stacking this wall because I knew that he could do this. So after a while, he starts to get in like backfilling, compacting. He gets a few courses up, and he calls me and he says, no, actually I was out front, and he yells to me, he's like, Mike, I don't think that this should be happening, but the wall is actually lining up. The staggers, the tolerances, and this wasn't a big wall. This was like a 20-foot wall. In that short of like a span, this wall had completely lined up the stagger joint from a half offset to completely lined up.
Holy shit.
Brutal tolerance. Yeah.
But did you post about it and tag the company?
No, this was before I even had Instagram. Oh, is that what you did, Chad? I don't even know the comment that you're talking about.
I tagged them.
That's awesome.
I tagged them, and I guess they screenshot it, and it went like fire through the company. And what are we going to do about this asshole that just burned us on Instagram before I was shadow banned? So everybody saw it, I guess. I'm saying everybody saw it. Maybe 10 people saw it. Who knows? But they had a fit about it. And here we are now talking about it 2 years later on
it's exactly
podcast.
What they didn't want to happen.
Yeah. yeah. It's come up quite a few times on the podcast.
Something they don't want to happen.
What's the statute of limitations on suing somebody over a picture that they posted? Is it okay, or do we have to like clear this whole podcast like nothing was said?
I think the thumbnail for this podcast episode you should get that photo. Jesus. And I'll put it up.
I'm sure it's still sitting on one of their desks somewhere. Like,
is it still on your Instagram, or did you take it down?
No, I took it down. Yeah.
I try to say to everyone, like, because when we first started at Lakeridge, like, we had like, I think there was like everyone had a Twitter account, every single guy, and people were like, "Aren't you worried about what they might post?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like 12 people follow that guy. Like, who cares what he posts? If he posts anything, who gives a shit? No one else does. Like, and even at that, there's like a 24-hour cycle for anything. If he posts something that people don't like, someone else will post something worse, guaranteed, way sooner. So like, yeah, I'm not worried about, like, it's not something that would faze me, but whatever. I've never had anyone sort of, shockingly, I guess I don't do anything that's actually offensive, like Chad. I don't. Like, I'm not actually offensive. I'm just sort of offensive. I don't know.
Yeah, but you're a better person than I am, maybe.
Oh, I don't think so. But maybe.
I have a little bit of a hothead when it comes to saying things I shouldn't. I'm getting better. I'm going to therapy. This is the therapy, by the way.
This is the therapy. Yeah.
But no, I am learning in my old age that everything I see maybe shouldn't be commented on.
I feel like in my old age, I'm way easier going. I'm way more like Like yesterday, I was in the yard and a couple of guys were there, and Colin had his truck idle, which drives me nuts in the yard for a couple of reasons. It's disrespectful to the people who, like, our yard is at the back of the farm, and they don't need to listen to other diesel vehicles, and whatever. And on the second page of that, diesel's $2 a liter, so like shut the fucking truck off. But in the previous life, I would have gone over and probably freaked out shit on Colin. I just lost it. But in this life, I walked over and said, listen, bro, had a long day. I'm hyper agitated and angry at about 5,000 things that have nothing to do with you. So can you shut your fucking truck off? Because the idling is driving me insane at $2 a liter. And he was like, no problem, man. I'll do that right now. I was like, great. And he did. But like, I think in a younger age, I would have gone like just absolutely, not because I was super mad at him about the idling. I mean, I was like, it's still not good, but like, it was more, I would have taken out all my anger in that moment on that guy who just happened to have his truck idling for probably like 30 seconds. You know, like it wasn't like, but I think that as I got older, I'm better at that now. Like trying to take a step back of controlling what I do and say to people.
Again, you've never been sued because of it.
No, here's an interesting story. I got, in my version, I got fucked over by a rep on a deal, and it was like $10,000, right? And I was so pissed. And like it was about returning some stone that they said they'd return, and then they said they would do it, and then it didn't do it. And it was just like, and I actually called our local supplier. It's like, you put on our account that if anyone buys anything from this manufacturer that isn't directly approved by me, you're not getting paid. And I want it printed on every single receipt that comes out that we hold in our hand. And because they have to print all the account restrictions. So every time it was like, if you process anything from this manufacturer, Mike says they are absolutely not paying the bill unless he personally approved it. And it was on every single bill that we got for like 2 years. It was on every bill. Like that was like, now I probably wouldn't do that. Like at the time I was like really mad. But I think as you get older, I'm losing my edge.
Losing your edge.
So like, are you gonna do like so we'll do like maybe next Tuesday, and then we'll do it, and I'll get the microphone working. I'll get headphones because I feel left out.
I feel like I'm playing a video game. Like I prefer, I think, the microphone than this headset, but I'll continue.
Is that headset your microphone?
Yeah, it's got the little McDonald's thing there.
Oh yeah, I see that. Whatever.
No, that's I went in and I said, "Okay, what's your best headset?" And they're like, "This is $200." And he's like, "This one is $20." I said, "Put me right in the middle." And this is what they came up with. So
gotcha.
I picked the one that looked the most like a microphone. I really want to like I always want to feel important. And
yeah.
So I can like really like lean in, and so
with it being in the shot, you look good. You look like completely legit.
Yeah. I think that's good. Totally not legit at all. I am going to now, every time our bin truck fucks up, I'm going to blows up or something, I'm going to tag you in all of them so that you can start to learn about like, especially how to getting parts for these things is like, I've been trying to get a hydraulic tank for Cody's because Cody's truck came at half full in the hydraulic tank. Okay. It's been half full since we bought the truck. It's always been half full. Never had a fucking problem. But one day Cody came in and she thought, oh, it's half full. I should probably add some. I don't know why. So she added some. And then obviously there was a hole just above the half full.
Oh,
because then the shit started to flow out of the tank. I'm like, why is this suddenly leaking? I'm like, it probably always leaks since before we bought it, but we just never put all the hydraulic fluid that should be in it. So now it's fucking leaking everywhere. Fucking great. So we're trying to get like a hydraulic tank. It's like impossible to get the hydraulic tank. Like to the point where we're gonna like literally like fabricate a whole.
Yeah, I think like in my city they'd be like, we can build you that, and then like I got an old GMC 8500. It needs a new air tank for the brakes. They don't make them anymore. So they're like, we'll build you that. It'll be 2 days. Sure, great. Build it. Let's go. Let's get this thing back on the road.
How's the water truck going?
It's not right now. We're using our 750, our Ford, with a tank that's too big for the truck, but it's great. Like it's for a makeshift water truck. It's better than our old GM was. and we just needed to water sod, right? So and fill the hydro seeder tank, but it's phenomenal. We want to get a hook lift water tank, but the only ones we can find are in buttfuck nowhere in Quebec, like 4 hours away. And how do you get it shipped down here? So you got to send the hook truck out there, but you don't want to send a hook truck in Quebec because that's a giant no-no if you're from Ontario. So we'll find one some. It's a
So there was a guy selling a water tank on a hook rails the whole winter, and so I have no use for it personally, but one of my clients would, right? And so I messaged them, hey, do you want me to buy this tank? Like, it's $4,000, so I'm not
golden.
I'm not buying it unless you fucking tell me to. And they were like, they don't got back, so I never bought it, and now the whole world's like dying for water, and I'm like, fuck, fucking spoil these things. But it was the middle of the winter, and cash flow sucked ass, and it seemed like a lot of money, and now I'm like, that was like nothing. I should have fucking totally, like, we buy 4,000 liters of fuel a week now.
Yeah.
So it works out to like $9,000 in fuel every week we buy.
Yep. We're not quite there yet, but yeah, we have a wicked fuel bill a week. It's discouraging.
It's pretty, yeah, I agree.
It's and we can't recoup, right? Because all these jobs were bid a year or two ago. And obviously the GC or the client has no sympathy for the cost increases.
And really the GC's got the same problem.
Yeah. Everybody has a problem with it, but
yeah, it's a problem for all of us. So but some of my bigger clients, we split it. Like some of my bigger trucking clients, I said, I'll split the pain with you, but I can't send the truck for that. So
yeah,
you can either split the pain or you can find someone who maybe will send their truck, and most of them split the pain with us.
So. We're arguing with a client, GC right now about watering sod in July. The job was supposed to have a finish date of October of last year because things got pushed back and all that. The landscaping portion, trees, sod, topsoil, hydroseed, all this shit isn't happening until a couple of weeks from now, July. And they want the same warranty on it as if we installed last October. And if you're a sod guy, if you're a tree guy, you know that trees and sod go in with less water in October than they do in mid-July when your sod's burnt an hour after you put it down, unless it's watered, right? So we're trying to recoup on that, and they're saying, no, you got to get it in, you got to get it in. I said, I can't. Like, we're already past the project date, and we need more money. If you want me to float the water truck an hour every day to water this sod and water these trees that are technically not even in season to be planted or sodded.
Yeah.
It's just, it's tough, right? It's tough, but it's not tough right now, right? There's always problems, hence the podcast, but this is just a problem. My flavor of the week for problems.
That's your problem.
That's my problem of the week. But the GC's on my side. It's just the civil contractor who we bid with is on our side. The client and the GC aren't on board yet. So it all gets sorted out. Not too worried about it. We roll on.
That's an interesting problem, though. I never really thought of it. I guess because I've done a lot of commercial landscaping too. Like I never once thought about it that way. It's interesting that we were supposed to do this in October. Why the fuck are we watering it? We just put it in and watered it.
We put it in, we watered it once or twice. And now you want me to do it in July.
You'll be watering it for weeks.
You'll be watering it for weeks, right?
Yeah.
And nobody ever thinks about the cost of water, right? Everybody thinks you just hook up a garden hose or something, let the sprinklers run. But we literally, our water bill a year is probably $10,000 for watering trees, sod, hydroseed water, all this shit that we have to go fill up at the city for. Like, water's cheap, but it's not cheap whenever you need a lot of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the cost of watering is like between you putting a truck on it, you're putting people on it.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, I did a calculation a long time ago, because I got accused of spending too much money on water. Yeah. And when I was the general manager, I did the math on it. I'm like, dude, like if we send that guy out with that truck and he waters 3 trees all day long, same 3 trees, and they live, we make money.
Yeah.
Because if you got to replace one tree, it costs more than that paper net.
Yeah.
Now fuel was only like 50 cents a liter back then, but still, like
Yeah.
it just like it costs more. Even if someone spends a week, you have a guy there with fire hose watering sod for a week. It's cheaper than going and picking up one roll.
Yeah.
Right.
And
you're also only demoralizing one person as opposed to everybody.
It's a gravy job for the right guy, you know, like watering sod is a pretty easy job. On that note, and this will, like, we're probably, what are we on, 2 hours now?
Yeah, we're way over.
Holy shit. Double up in the first episode. One of my, this old guy who worked with us at the company I was with before I started natural design. Old guy, he was old when he started. He's old now, and he still works for me at my company. We were watering up in Ottawa, which is an hour away from us, and he soaked himself in the first 5 minutes. He's wearing jeans and those safety shoes that people like to wear, you know, like they sort of look like clown shoes. Hate them. Anyway, he soaked himself first 5 minutes. Oh, shit. What am I going to do? He takes his box cutter, his cutoff knife. He cuts his pants into shorts. But he cut them so short that the whole pocket was hanging out. And he had to wear these shorts the rest of the day, watering on the side of the 416 highway, which is the big highway between the 401 and Ottawa, if you're coming from Toronto ways. But he is on the side of the 416, watering in Daisy Dukes at 60 years old with just a safety vest and this tiny set of shorts on. And like, I wish I had a picture. That's one of my favorite landscape moments ever, I think.
Meeting every single stereotype.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Like a hard hat, just a safety vest, no shirt on underneath, and these tiny, tiny, tiny shorts. It was awesome.
It's awesome.
Okay.